The Bunny and Red Velvet. This one was
Sacrifices.
um, interesting match. You know, the TBS
Yeah.
tournament round one has been completed now, and the winner of this match is going to be facing Jade Cargill, which she was ringside with Smart Mark Sterling as well. This match was a bit of a surprise. I mean, on paper, yes, it makes sense for Velvet to advance to have that rematch versus Jade, the kind of
Yeah.
David versus Goliath that we've seen visually and result as
Since
well.
you got that
Uh,
history.
yeah, so that makes sense, obviously, for to rather than a heel versus heel, Bunny versus Jade, which would have been a good match, period. Anyways, but this was a much. It didn't do both women any help with this match, in my opinion, because it was a quick match, and these are supposed to be you know pivotal pieces of the women's division, and this one felt like I mean this in the nicest way, I guess, the
Quick.
glorified dark match. And
It's too
it did
quick.
not seem like a tournament with very high stakes at on the table with a
No.
brand new belt type of match. I mean, when you set the bar with Deeb and Sheeta, you need to at least tr- come a little close. I mean, no one's going to top that, period.
Right.
But you need to at least have it a longer match, like we're seeing in the chat, a little too short. I agree. Longer match, a lot of false finishes. Make it more believable that it is a tournament match, not just another women's match. And this one, unfortunately, missed the mark for
Yeah.
me with being a tournament style match. Um, can these two women put on a tournament style match? Sure, yes,
Oh
I'm
yeah.
sure they can.
Definitely.
Did they, was the stage set for that? Unfortunately, it wasn't, and they didn't deliver on that sense. So I
Right.
expected more out of this for sure.
I feel it, man. I agree. It felt like without the presence of Jade there, it would have felt like
Yeah,
any other match. It did. There was no. It didn't feel like either of them were particularly amped up extra, like for an opportunity to be that
yeah,
first champion. It just didn't feel like that kind of match. Where like you said with Deeb and Sheeta, that match felt important, and part of it was because of their previous history, and part of it, with the trophy and everything. But another part of it was because they treated it like that. That was a long match. That was a gritty match. This one was quick. And there was a lot of like outside stuff with Jade involved, where she wasn't involved in the match, but there was a lot of focus on her more so than the Bunny and Red Velvet. And it just yeah, I agree, it was a miss. It didn't feel long enough. There was a lot of time on the show too, where we had a lot of promo time this week, so I feel like there could have been another 2 minutes added to this match, and it would have helped and made it a little bit better. But I can't really fault them for it. They did what they could in the time they had, and there wasn't a lot of time. So, unfortunately, compared to what we saw earlier in the tournament, this was a little bit of a letdown. But
right.
hopefully, Red Velvet and Jade can have like a better match in their bracket, in their slot, because we've seen them go toe to toe before, and I think that they kind of set that up because of this. Like we might see a little more offense out of Red this time, because she's gotten pretty dominated by Jade Cargill in the matches she's had with her. So
hmm
hopefully we'll get to see a little bit more offense out of Red, and maybe they'll start leveling out a little bit, or we'll just see another squash from Jade. So either
I mean,
way.
the way Jade is booked, she deserves to kind of maybe get her way to the next round is obviously the one that really matters the most to me, because
Right.
she's going to be going against Thunder Rosa for sure, unless we have some
Surprise.
shenanigans after this 3-on-3 match that we have DMD screwing over Thunder versus her entourage Jamie Hayter. But
Yeah.
looking at the bracket, you know a little predictable for the way we were going. But how do you see the next round playing out? Like, what do to me, the one that's the most intriguing is the rematch with Nyla Rose and Sheeta. Once again,
That's
Sheeta
yeah.
is going to be, in an awesome match. Holy Sheeta. But other than that, how do you see this going?
Man, I see this as a really cool round of the tournament, especially down at the bottom there, because I think it's a little less predictable. But I'm really intrigued by Hater versus Thunder. That's going to be an awesome match. I think they're going to absolutely tear the house down. And ultimately, I do think Thunder advances. I think Jade will advance over Red, and I think we're going to get Thunder versus Jade, which will be great.
Yeah.
I think that Cheetah could beat Nyla Rose. I think that would be a smart way to continue her ascension back into like that TV, the TV vibes, because she hasn't been on television a lot. So this could be a good way
Yeah.
to get her back on TV, like get her stock back up a little bit for people that don't watch Dark.
Right.
So get her stock back up by beating like Nyla. And I think that Ruby Soho versus Hikaru Shida would be another awesome match. I think Statlander would as well, but I think that Ruby would probably be the next person in line on that last part of the bracket. So it would be Thunder versus Jade and Shida versus Ruby Soho is what I would pick.
Yeah, I think that would be a good as well. I don't see Sheeta taking a loss to Rose, in my opinion, but that one definitely could be a flip of a coin.
Mhm.
But after the performance that we saw of Sheeta, I think she's on a pretty dominant streak right now. But moving forward, do you see do you see any of these matches being added to Full Gear, or because it's a second round matchup, does it deserve
Yeah.
a pay per view spot, or do you see them just waiting until Rampage and Dynamite? Plus, do you see another women's match added to Full Gear?
That's
Because all
tough.
these women are pretty much
Yeah.
occupied, unless you have that multi woman match that we were kind of seeing on
Mhm.
Dynamite. The card is getting filled up, but just to have one women's match is kind
If
of
there's a
shock.
if there was a little more time, I would say that we could,
Yeah.
get that going. Unfortunately, I don't think they have enough time to continue the tournament into
Yeah.
Full Gear unless they're like, okay, we'll have two matches on Full Gear, which could be cool. They could have two of the matches on Full Gear and then do something on the next Dynamite for the
Yeah,
finals.
buy-in or something.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Even if you have two of the matches for the tournament on Full Gear, I think that'd be interesting. Have them back to back or something.
Sure.
You
One
know,
or even both at the buy-in, nothing against the buy-in, but you're still on
I watch the
you're still on
buy-in
the
every
card.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So I
yeah,
guess that
it's
could be two of the first round matches on the buy-in. And if you put um essentially, yeah, Nyla and Sheeta, which in the past could have main evented many shows on the buy-in. That's a match that most people want to see. And Statlander and,
yeah.
and Ruby, like right there, you have four pillars of the women's division right there. You put on the card or in the buy-in, and I think that would be a smart thing, to do.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good way to showcase as well. You get this tournament in people's heads that aren't watching every week.
Yeah.
Some people probably don't even know what's going on if you haven't watched for 2 weeks. You know what I mean? And you get that involved in the pay per view, and that'd be awesome. Get people that are normally not watching involved in that, and that'd be fun for me. I'd love to see those matches on a bigger stage. Then I'm sure the crowd would love that too. You kind of unlike what we saw tonight, which is kind of what we docked it a little bit for, was it not having a big match feel when it should have.
Right.
You put those matches on a pay per view, and that is a big match feel for sure. That's when
Right.
you get that big match feel, and I think that would be a lot of fun, just for them and for the crowd.